allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a moment of silence, please. Roll call, Andrea.
Council President Chamberlain.
Here.
Councilor Schneider.
Here.
Councilor Stickley.
Here.
Councilor Griggs.
Present.
Councilor Scott Stieretz.
Here.
We have 5 members present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Council's had time to go over the prior meeting's minutes.
I'd make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion to approve the prior meeting's minutes moved by Councilor Stickley and seconded by Councilor Griggs. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, after last week, we have our last meeting, we have no one wishing to address council with anything, but we do have a committee report, Tree Commission.
All right. Once again, the big topic of discussion is Tree City USA for our city next year. No one really knows right now if we're going to have the meeting or the event actually. So we're kind of planning going forward with it, and I don't really know when we'll know for sure. The other thing that was discussed was moving the Oklahoma tree from the bombing. It's out by the city where we dump our grass, and they're going to move that to the middle school, and we are going to put a plaque underneath that for Jim Spees, because he was instrumental in getting that, and then he's retired or giving up his spot on the tree commission too. So, and that was the main thing right now. Like I said, we're going to plan the event to go forward, and if something changes, we'll act appropriately.
Can we, with those events, I know it's kind of late in the game here, but we're gonna kind of need some sort of a budget for that too. And
Yes.
I know we talked about that a couple meetings ago.
Yes.
That if we can get something to Jamie so she's aware, either for the hall or.
Oh, and I mentioned that at Council of the Whole, and the normal number that they ask for is from $6,000 to $8,000.
From the city.
Yes, and normally, my understanding is that is basically reimbursed
With
from
the
the
cost.
reservations, yeah. So it's kind of a wash at the end from my
Right.
understanding. But yeah, I mentioned that at Council of the Whole that we would like to make sure we get our,
Okay, so maybe we
Yeah.
need to make sure that gets into the budget and that you guys can, next meeting, make sure that you find a price so that we can
Okay.
get that in. I know it's hard, everything's up in the air. So, all right. Okay, so no action on your report at all? Okay, we're gonna move on to our department head reports. Can we start way back in the back with Chief Sluter?
The only thing I have is continued work on the EMS levy fire district with the discussion that you guys had last meeting, just continuing on that, and draw your attention to the resolution that the law director is prepared for this meeting. If you have any questions on that, either here, I can help answer those, but that's all I have.
Any questions for Chief?
Chief, did you play a role in creating this resolution?
Yeah, just language to, I did some of the needs and the reasoning, and he did the lawyerizing.
Okay. You did the whereases?
Yep.
Okay.
Tom had his act, whereas. All whereas is in this one.
Any other questions? Okay. We'll move on to Chief Chitman.
Just want to remind everybody, we got a couple events coming up before the end of the month. First, this Saturday is Drug Take Back Day at Walmart from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then we always have a 24/7 drop box in our lobby for any unused prescription drugs that people want to get rid of. And then also Trick or Treat, still planning on for the 31st from 6 to 7:30. Not really sure how much of a crowd it will be or what's going to be going on with that, but obviously if people can take their time, slow down in the heavy residential areas, watch out for everybody, and also try to abide by the CDC guidelines. I've seen they have released that out. I believe we have put that on our Facebook page, the city Facebook page, about that with the following for the COVID-19 stuff. So, and that is all I had.
Any questions for Chief Chitnick? Okay, moving on to Keith.
A couple of things for you. Leaf pickup will start the first week in November. So brush pickup will be stopping at that point in time. We have this week is for the north side. It'll be the last pickup on the north side. Next week, last pickup on the south side. And then we normally have one round where we go around and try and pick up any stragglers that are left behind after they went through. But we will start switching over to leaves 1st of November and then picking back up with brush after the 1st of the year. But the batting cage is, the concrete pad has been poured at the north ball fields, and the fencing and the cage itself should be up in the next few weeks. Our storms sewer line project from Leggett Street to the creek will begin in the next few days. The piping and supplies have started rolling in. If you remember on the Brunel Street design project, that's where all the stormwater goes to, and we had to wait until the engineers got the design down so we knew what size of pipe we needed to put in there to effectively handle all the stormwater. We had divers at the water treatment plant last week to inspect our clear well as well as the old intakes at the inside the reservoir and the new intakes for the Napoleon water line. So we've got they will be sending us a report on those. And if you recall, Clem Kutzley, our water reclamation superintendent, normally has a picture in the Ohio Water Environmental Association calendar. Well, this year he's been selected for 2 pictures, so he will be up there for 2 months out of the 12. And I think that's all I've got unless someone has any questions for me.
I just know I'm in trouble. I told my husband that the leaf pickup started this next week, and we got a great big pile that's gonna be making a nice dead spot in our grass unless we pick them up. So, November 1st.
November
All
1st.
right, I got that one. Any other questions for Keith?
Keith, I think I remember from committee of the whole, you making note about the tree commission, possible budget for that event, right?
I have it added on in the trees line item.
Okay.
Jamie and I were just discussing the dollar amount. We will need to get a little bit more hard and fast number by the time in the next couple of weeks so that we can plug that in.
Okay, thank you.
Everything is just so difficult. We're trying to get calls, trying to get, here, you just don't know what it's gonna be like next, but hopefully better. Okay, Jamie?
So since the last council meeting, we did receive the next coronavirus relief fund money. We received $267,000 on October 9th. And we're working at getting POs in place and using up those funds before the end of the year. I also have handed out all of the budget work papers to all of the department heads and whoever else needs to create their budgets. I've asked for them to be turned in by the end of this month. Hopefully that happens, and after that we can schedule a finance committee meeting to initially go over that. And that's all I have for tonight, unless you have any questions.
Questions for Jamie? All right, let's move on. Tom? Still got you.
That was close.
I almost got you.
Good recovery.
It's the change in seating, I just can't get it right.
Not much to report. I just, with respect to the 2 resolutions in front of the 2 new resolutions in front of council, the first one is 2020-18. And that simply authorizes the mayor to enter into a letter or execute a letter of intent to pursue the solar generated energy as part of the aggregation program. I mean, it's a little more detailed in that, but if you've got any questions, I'd be happy to refer you to Keith on that. Keith and I spent some time in emails going over that and just making sure we understood what that was all about, but it sounded like it'd be a good cost savings to the city. And then Resolution 2020-19 is the resolution authorizing the mayor to pursue the creation of a district. And just want to make sure council's aware, so we had sent the initial draft in the package, and then working with Rick this afternoon, we just tweaked it a bit, and you should have a hard copy of that resolution, which is the one that you would be voting on tonight. There were no real substantive changes. The only real change was to include a paragraph in the whereases, just reflecting that if the district was to be created, we'd have to get levy language on to the Board of Elections by February. So time is of the essence to get moving on that. And again, it's just to authorize the mayor to take the first step in pursuing the possible formation. I think the understanding is council still willing to listen to the commissioners if they are interested in continuing in some relationship without having to create the district. So anyway, important thing is just to note that this is the revised current version that you have in hard copy. I guess also we did receive from our labor council in Columbus the documents to review for purposes of the contract, so we'll be taking a look at that, get any comments back to them this week, and then hopefully we'll have something for council, I would think, in the next week here to 10 days to review. I guess that's it, except congratulations to the Wauseon High School girls golf team for getting down state, finishing 11th. That's a big deal to get down there. And also a shout out to the golf team from our neighbors to the west, I guess. Pettisville Blackbirds. For
Go ahead,
finishing
release it, you can.
fourth.
Yeah, go ahead.
Congratulations to the guys. They had a little bit of an escort coming home on Saturday, and were met by, I didn't know there were that many people in Pettisville, to be honest with you, in the parking lot, honking horns and flashing their lights, but congratulations to those guys, and also to Andy Scher from Wauseon, who made it down as an individual and at state, so a lot of good golfers in this area.
Yeah. It's always good to see the support when they make it to state.
Yeah.
So, okay, any questions for Tom? Any golf questions for Tom? All right,
I'd have
thank
to
you.
refer those out.
No, thank you for doing that. Thank you. Okay, I think that's it then. Now we'll move on to Resolution 2020-18, a resolution approving a letter of intent between the City of Wauseon, the Ohio Municipal League Service Corporation, and OML Energy Solutions for potential purchase of solar-generated energy and related electric consulting agreement. And we need to declare this emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2020-18 on emergency reading moved by Council President Chamberlain and seconded by Councilor Stickley. Is there any discussion? Council President Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
Councilor Scott Stieretz?
Yes.
Councilor Griggs?
Yes.
Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Okay, moving on to Resolution 2020-19.
I think you got it.
Oh, sorry.
Back up.
I need a final.
Final reading.
I'll second it.
Motion to place resolution 2020-18 on final reading moved by Councilor Stickley and seconded by Councilor Griggs. Is there any discussion? Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
Councilor Griggs?
Yes.
Council President Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
Councilor Stieretz?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Don't want to come back and have to do an emergency on another day. All right, Resolution 2020-19 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to pursue a proposal for creation of an EMS and fire district for funding purposes and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2020-19 on emergency reading moved by Councilor Schneider and seconded by Councilor Stickley. Is there any discussion? Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
Councilor Griggs?
Yes.
Councilor Stieretz?
Yes.
Council President Chamberlain?
Abstain.
4 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries. And 1 abstention, sorry, motion carries.
Okay.
Final reading.
I'll second it.
Motion to place resolution 2020-19 on final reading moved by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Counselor Griggs. Is there any discussion? Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Griggs?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Chamberlain?
Abstain.
And Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
4 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstain. Motion carries.
Mayor, if I might, I believe that we need a majority of
I was just thinking.
3/4
the
of
same thing.
members of council in order to pass something by emergency reading. So I don't think with the abstention, which I think is completely appropriate.
Yes, I do.
That we have enough to have it placed on emergency. However, I think the charter provides that if there isn't enough votes for emergency, it can still be passed on the motion to pass it on on the final reading can be construed as a first reading. So I guess what I would suggest is that the first vote probably is not sufficient to have it placed on final reading. So I guess to clarify, Andrew, I think it wouldn't pass.
Okay.
But the reading on the final reading can be construed as a first reading. So it essentially will have passed on a first reading because we do have a majority of council voting in favor of it.
Okay.
So that long story short, the resolution would, I guess, would proceed along the 3 readings unless at the next meeting, council
Would have
has
to
enough
do it on
votes to put it on
emergency.
emergency and then vote on it on the second read. If that makes sense.
Because it's at a timeline anyway, so.
So we
Alright.
could, we could get it done maybe November 2nd, huh? You know,
Yep,
Jeff returns?
Yep.
Yep.
Sounds good. He'll be back this second? Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
And I think, I mean, given the sentiment of council, I think inquiries can still be made as to what would need to be made in terms of pursuing the proposal without taking any official action. So I don't think it'll slow the process down at all.
Does it have to be done by a certain time?
Well, to create the fire district, we'd have to get
Oh, okay.
the stuff done to the ballot, to the Board of Election by February, but
Okay.
the initial inquiries to determine how it would be formed and that sort of thing, I think we can start to think about that in the meeting between now and November 2nd.
I also think continually working with the county too. There
Yeah.
were some issues that are, some things that we needed to get to them as well.
Yep.
So, you know, I think the first Monday will be okay. That we can get that done.
So I apologize, Andrea, for
Okay.
not clarifying that at the time, but I was just
Okay.
recognizing as we were going through that the emergency would not be enough to vote.
I know, I was thinking the same thing. I was
I was
counting
thinking
as
it
4
too.
yes,
Yeah.
so, all right. Okay, so we're done here on this resolution.
So we have
We have to have 5 votes?
We gotta go back
Yeah,
to,
you have to have
we got the
3/4.
first, we already put it on the
Is that what
first.
it is?
So essentially where we're at is you
We're
have
at
a
first.
approval on first reading.
We approved the first reading, we just can't pass the.
Final until-
emergency. Okay?
Okay.
All right, let's move on to second reading of legislations. Nothing. Third reading of legislations. Ordinance 2020-7, an ordinance amending section 957 of the codified ordinances of the city of Wauseon, Rotary Pond.
Third reading.
Second.
Motion to place ordinance 2020-7 on final reading moved by Council President Chamberlain and seconded by Counselor Stickley. That was you, Counselor Stickley, wasn't it? Or was it you?
That was it.
It was Harold.
me.
Okay, that's what I thought, sorry.
I squeaked your voice today.
Is there any discussion? Council President Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Griggs?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Okay. Ordinance 2020-8, an ordinance amending section 191.081A of the codified ordinance of the city of Wauseon. This is pertaining to resident income tax credit.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to place ordinance 2020-8 on final reading moved by Counselor Schneider and seconded by Counselor Stickley. Is there any discussion? Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Griggs?
Yes.
Council President Chamberlain?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
I have nothing under new business. Yes?
I do.
Okay.
I would like to say that thanks to Keith Torbett We got red lines and blue lines put down to Fulton Street, honoring our fire department and our police department
Yeah.
and our sheriff's department. I would also like to say at this time for the record though, that I would like to honor John at Public Works and Lou at the water plant for doing a fantastic job of making water for the city and all the residents, and for Clem to take care of all the sewage thing, because otherwise we'd be backed up.
Yeah.
And all of the men.
Literally.
Literally backed up. And for the men and women that work at this building, for all their hard work that they do, I would like to say thank you for everything you do to all them people. That's all.
Very nice, thank you. Thank you very much. And those lines have gotten a lot of attention, so that was really,
Mayor,
they're right in the blue.
Can I just say we do have a violation of some code though? We have blue and yellow touching each other.
Yes, we
That
do.
would be a
We're not talking about
violation.
arching.
We try to get
Okay,
separation.
I heard about that.
But other than.
It is what it is.
I just wanted to say thank you to John and his crew.
They did a great job, yeah.
You know, because they do a great job also, Mayor.
Can I clarify, it wasn't, because someone asked me if it was Republican, Democrats, I said, no, it's fire.
Fire, yeah, I know. That question came once to noon, and it's nice to see that. Okay, any other new business?
If that's the case, as a libertarian, I'd like to see some yellow.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, we
You can
can.
make your own lights somewhere.
Okay,
Don't
can
give
we
us
have a
something Jerry
motion to
Street
approve
turns
the
yellow
bills?
on.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion to approve and pay the bills moved by Counselor Schneider and seconded by Counselor Stickley. Is there any discussion? Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Council President Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Griggs?
Yes.
Counselor Steeritz?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Can we have a motion for adjournment, please?
I'll so move that one.
I'll second.
Motion to adjourn moved by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Counselor Steeritz. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.